Welcome to SEC Football Live, 440 Sports Network. Trey Wallace, Outkick, Braden Gall here on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Brought to you, of course, today by M.L. Rose. 7 great locations, soon to be 8, all across the Middle Tennessee area. Great drink specials, great place to watch SEC football. You still got Wing Wars for 2 more Saturdays, so you get big discounts on wings. You get 2-for-1 beers and mimosas, and there's a brunch menu for the kiddos and the misses. I don't know what you're doing. If you come to Nashville, go to M.L. Rose.
You haven't given me an update in the last 2 weeks. Like, how are we doing with the Wing Wars?
That's a good point. I need to track that down for you.
Okay, good.
Efforting.
Right.
I've got sources indicating
that
Tennessee is still winning.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, you can give me the update next week.
Much like the regular season, Vandy has way outperformed and had one of the best seasons in the history of its eating life. So we'll get to all of that.
If they win Saturday, I think they'll end up winning the Wings War at the end.
It is ultimately the most important game in the history of that rivalry, I think. And so we will discuss that coming up as well. So playoff rankings are out. Ole Miss gets flip-flopped with Oregon. Otherwise, basically the same. I don't think it actually matters, so we'll get to that. Bama, are they in? They've got a big game against Auburn, of course, this weekend. Can Vandy and Texas work their way in? We will get to rivalry weekend, and we will discuss the playoff rankings because all of that is very important to college football fans. Yep. But we are going to spend, again, the start of the show discussing Lane Kiffin, what we think he will do, what we think he should do, what we think matters to him, what we think Ole Miss should or shouldn't do around the playoff game and this ultimatum / deadline / please make a decision, Mr. Kiffin. What we think Florida will do, what we think LSU will do. Oh, by the way, there's 2 other really good jobs open in the SEC that we don't even touch on nearly enough in Auburn and Arkansas. So we'll get to all of that stuff coming up today on the show. Happy Thanksgiving, Trey. You got a Thanksgiving holiday you're a gas station? You're a gas station Thanksgiving guy this year, right?
It's freaking parked wherever I'm covering. Last year it was Columbus. This year, the previous year was Ann Arbor. I remember going to a honey baked ham on Thanksgiving Day in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in a blizzard, by the way. Yeah, don't hate on honey baked ham, but Ann Arbor honey baked ham, I get it.
That whole sentence was terrible.
This year I'll probably be spending it with a couple of folks that are kind of lonely at probably a Starkville Chevron. So looking forward to that. We're set.
M.L. Rose, everybody, better
go to
Starkville Chevron.
Absolutely, 100%. I look forward to it, man. This is what I signed up for a living, and I got to follow this Lane train.
Former SEC Football Live co-host Stephen Godfrey always talks. Obviously, spent a lot of time in Oxford and Starkville during Thanksgiving on the Egg Bowl, and it is one of the great games, and it certainly has extra juice this year for all the reasons we've talked about with Lane Kiffin. So I just want to, I want to go through some hypotheticals here, and we'll call most of this informed speculation. Let's call it. And I think, I want to know because we talked a little bit about the calendar being broken and him trying to make this decision. Let's go through the hypotheticals here. So Lane Kiffin decides, I'm going to leave Ole Miss. I'm going to coach at Florida or LSU or somewhere else. Who knows?
Right.
And he goes to Ole Miss and he says, hey, I want to know how all the parties should handle this if he decides to leave, because I don't think this is a new situation. Yes. We have never had a playoff team lose a coach the week before the rankings come out, potentially, or decide something the week before the rankings come out. Yes. Andrew, sit tight, Andrew. I see you in the comments.
We're gonna get you, Andrew.
And I just want to, if he says if he goes to Ole Miss and says, hey guys, I've got this opportunity, it's what's best for me and my family, I want to leave, I got to take this other job, but I'd like to coach Ole Miss. What should Ole Miss do? Shouldn't Ole Miss honor that? Should the players have a role and a voice in all of this? Should they sit down with the players and say, hey, what do you guys want? The players could certainly come out from a PR standpoint and help sell that.
They've already done that.
But I have this vision of Lane Kiffin walking out on at Vaught Hemingway Stadium to host a playoff game and getting booed. And I don't that feels weird to me. I think you got to let the guy coach if he wants to coach.
I don't think he's going to have that opportunity. I don't. I think I think if they want him that bad, and I'm talking about LSU and Florida here, if they want him that bad, you give him the green light to coach the playoff. But here's the thing. If I'm Ole Miss, I don't want him coaching the playoff. Like I don't, and not because of the coaching standpoint. And we're going to get into the CFP's dumb stuff that they said last night. But what's the storyline going to be for 19 days if they play in the first round? If they somehow get into the first round bye for 31 days, what's the storyline going to be? It's going to be about Lane Kiffin stepping off for a rival school. Like, I don't know how you can handle that from a PR standpoint for a month or even 19 days or 20 days. I really don't. And I don't think that you can have him around. I'm not saying that Lane would
can't you so hypothetically, sorry to interrupt. Can't you set this all up with some sort of like big major press conference at the beginning of this whole announcement with Keith Carter, Lane Kiffin, and maybe Trinidad Chambliss? You all stand up there and you say, this is an awful situation that none of us want to be in. It's a situation that the NCAA has put us in. Put all the blame on the NCAA for putting the calendar where it is. Easy target, right?
Yeah.
We will answer questions at this press conference, and then we are focused on Tulane or focused on Miami or whoever it is that's coming to town. Because I feel like you have to I don't think it's that difficult to sort of set the stage with the open-ended press conference and then say we're done with this. We're not talking about it.
I don't think that's hard, but at the same time, like I'm going through the schedule right now, what it would be. At the same time, what you would have to do is you literally have to say, hey, we're going out and hiring our new coach, and he can come in here and he can run whatever he wants to do, set up recruiting, all that stuff. Like, you can't just sit around. You got to go hire John Summerall or whoever you can get to be the coach and let him come in there. By the way, Auburn or Ole Miss, just prepare yourself. That coach is probably not going to be on campus for a little bit because he has a team in the playoff. Same thing that's going on potentially with Eric Morris.
Sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
But it's different. It's different. Like, I don't think Auburn or Ole Miss wouldn't have a problem with John Summerall coaching in the playoffs because he's not going to a freaking rival damn school. Like, I think that's really what it comes down to, Braden, is the fact that you'd be coaching at LSU or Florida next season.
Are you worried about recruiting purposes there? Because
I think it's more portal than anything. I'm not like, I guess
that's what I mean. Recruiting. That's what I mean. Recruiting the roster. The problem is you can do that on a cell phone from Gainesville.
No, I get that part. I understand that part, but I also think that when you really look at it from a standpoint of how much can you actually handle, because what could happen, I know we're going to talk about here in a minute with CFP stuff, but brother, if they get screwed out of they
won't.
You say that, but they were freaking lost last night on the teleconference. Like Hunter Yurachek was gasping for answers.
Was that? Did I see the 6-7 clip from him? Was that him that did that?
Yeah, that was him.
Oh my god, that was so bad. It's
but
officially
that was on ESPN. That wasn't like the teleconference was even worse. Like the question was asked, and he had to wait 10 seconds to answer because you could tell he was talking to Rich Clark next to him on how to put this out. So what I'm getting at is, I don't think they would do it.
They're not.
But there is precedent for something like that.
I think the top set. We'll get to this, but I think the top 7 are in. I think they're in. They can lose, and they're in. I think that's the top 7.
So here's my answer to the original question. I don't know how Ole Miss can allow that to happen. You've gone far enough. You've dealt with all this bullshit from the statement to the press conferences to the McAfee stuff. Like, I just think you got to cut bait and have Charlie Weiss Jr. call the offense.
If the players come to you or you meet with the players, I think this is how you can give yourself cover. If you're Ole Miss on this,
yep.
If you can give yourself cover, because you can go to the players and you can say, you guys, if you want Lane to coach here, we will let that happen. It's also probably gives Ole Miss the best chance to win the game. Let's be very honest. Lane Kiffin is clearly worth a lot of value on a Saturday. That's part of what makes him so desirable by Florida, LSU, and the Tennessee Titans. And so I think, well, he's always been lured by the NFL. He's started his career in the NFL. So let's not act like that's some new idea.
If you go to the freaking On3, you'll see that I picked the Titans for him to coach.
It's not some new idea that Lane Kiffin might coach in the NFL. Like that's been a talking point for 15 years. So anyway,
but it wouldn't be the Giants. But go ahead.
No, of course not. But well, I know why people think that because of the.
But it's not going to be. I promise.
No, I agree. I agree. It's not his. That's not his. The spotlight going. Baton Rouge is too spotlighty and fishbowly, and we're in your business all the time. Ain't no way he's going to New York. So, I think you can sell it with the student athlete as the forefront of the message, saying to people, we know this is a bum ass situation, but the best chance we have to win and the right thing to do for the players is to let Lane Kiffin coach the rest of the season. That's not the right thing for his new job, and it might not be the best thing for Lane, but it is the best. It is the quote unquote right thing to do. And you may take some heat, but in a messaging strategy, this is why Tylenol set the bar when they got accused of their, you know where I'm going with this, right?
I know you're going.
The best policy from PR is to rip the Band-Aid off, tell the truth, and then eat it, because that is always going to get you out of the mess faster than digging yourself deeper into the mess with some bullshit lies or smoke screen or whatever. So if you don't know about Tylenol,
I thought you were going to come up with Purdue Pharma.
No, go look in the.
I know what you're.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking to the audience. Go.
Oh yeah.
There was some guy like tampered with all the jars, and so they invented a tamper-proof jar, pulled everything off the shelves at great cost to themselves. Said, "Our bad. We are going to fix this," and they did, and they are now, and it got fixed.
Now it takes me 20 minutes to open up a freaking bottle. So thanks to that idiot.
But you didn't die in the 80s, so it's cool. You're here now.
Whatever, that's fine.
So I just don't look. It's a lose-lose. We've talked about this. The question is, what if he stays? I'm going to go rapid fire here. If he stays at Ole Miss, what does Florida and what do LSU do next? Lincoln Riley says he wants to stay at USC. That's famous last words. Eli Drinkwitz does not seem like a candidate for LSU. He seems like he could be a candidate for Florida.
Don't forget, Missouri they put together a fat contract for Eli Drinkwitz. They're going to hold a board meeting. I think it's today, if I'm not mistaken. And then they will try to approve that. I think the Eli Drinkwitz stuff kind of died down a little bit from what I'm told. Yeah. Florida kind of backed off a little bit. LSU somewhat backed off a little bit. So that's why he's getting a fat contract from Missouri. I'm about to say Ole Miss. That'd be interesting. So we'll see if that gets finalized, though. It's a little bit of a process in Missouri. I think that with Florida, you would have to go to. I think. Look, I've maintained this whole time that John Summerall is the best candidate that's out there right now because he can hook up with the DC. That's why I think he'd be really good for Auburn, because you bring in John and then you keep Durkin as the DC. I think that the same thing could be said with Ole Miss. I think that with Pete Golding, whatever you think of Pete Golding, he at least has a good defensive mind. I think, but at the same time, the LSU part gets a little tricky here, because I know Lincoln Riley wanted to come out yesterday and talk about he's 100% committed, and he kind of laughed off the question and all that stuff. Well, from the folks that I'm talking to, Lincoln Riley's name is being floated a good amount in Baton Rouge and in Gainesville, by the way. So, and then we're about to find out what happens with Alex Golesh. I know he has spoken with Arkansas multiple times. I credit Hunter Yurachek for one thing and one thing only over the last 2 weeks. This is not his CFP. He's pretty much kept this Arkansas thing on a lock.
Yeah, he has.
But I think Alex Golesh would be the guy. I'm not saying he's going to be hired. I'm saying he should be the guy, because they struck out on Eric Morris when he went to Oklahoma State, which is crazy that he picked Oklahoma State over Arkansas. Well, maybe not actually.
It's not that crazy.
No, I'm just thinking out loud here. Or Jim Moore going to Colorado State.
Russian immigrant, right? Alex Golesh.
Yeah. Russian immigrant. Got a great story. I think he would do well, but I think Golesh might be waiting to see if another job opens. So a lot of people waiting right now to see what happens.
A little closer to home. Look, John Summerall kind of has his pick at this point, because it does feel like after Kiffin, should he decide to stay at Ole Miss or go to the NFL, that there is not a clear-cut number two outside of Summerall. It feels like there's a lot of names that are good, but nobody that like this Brent Key. I really love Brent Key. I think he's a really good coach for Georgia Tech. He is not a candidate at Florida, LSU, and Auburn.
This is fourth on the list at Florida, man.
This is absurd. Jeff Brom is a very good coach. He has kind of done some weird stuff in the last couple of weeks, but I think he is a very good coach. He's probably, I've heard he's like not even top 2 or 3 at Penn State, which I think is ridiculous.
He's third on the list at Florida.
That sounds right to me. I think Jeff Brom would be a hell of a hire at Florida.
Right.
The problem is that once you get past Kiffin and maybe Summerall, there are 4 SEC jobs, and if Kiffin leaves, 5, and not enough names that we
maybe
think.
Maybe 6.
It doesn't. Okay, what are you talking about?
I'm just messing with the Kalen DeBoer stuff. Thought I'd have a little fun.
You look. This is a crazy thought.
All right, I'm ready.
If I am Kalen DeBoer and I am offered the Penn State job, I would take it.
I'd be on the first plane to Happy Valley.
I would take the job.
Like there are 4 terminals at State College, 4 gates. I'd be at one of those gates. I'd be at the private runway.
You cannot live. It's so hard to live life with, I could get fired if I lose this last game every year, or we're going to make the playoff. that is one of the hardest ways. It's a good program, obviously an elite program, and he's a good coach. But like, they are on the like. If he loses this game, they miss the playoff, and they go 9-3 2 years in a row in his first 2 seasons. It's. I don't think it's a huge knock on who he is, but as a coach. But I think,
bro, if he loses Saturday, I wouldn't go back to Tuscaloosa for at least a day or two.
I think he's getting a taste of what this ridiculousness is in the SEC.
I'm just saying, like, if he loses Saturday,
I'm not telling him to give up. No,
I'm not either. I want to keep fighting, man. But I'm just saying, like, this one runs deep. Like, you could go for the loss to Oklahoma. You can go for the loss to,
and he's not.
I don't know, maybe Vanderbilt again. But you lose the Iron Bowl.
He's not John Summerall, where he was born in Troy, Alabama, and like grew up on Iron Bowl. Like this is
whole
not
staff is from the Northwest.
Yeah,
man.
this
like
is not,
come on,
yeah.
like what are we doing here? Like, so I'm not completely like dismissing all that because we've seen crazy thing that happens.
Andrew has some comments here. I'm going to get to the Notre Dame ranking thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
But Andrew says, okay. Andrew says, first of all, Kalen should leave for PSU ASAP. I don't disagree with that.
Almost got me there.
All right, here is Andrew. Andrew, I think there's zero chance Lane leaves if they beat Mississippi State. No competitor would make LSU, Florida, Ole Miss wait. If Lane leaves, it's just to prove that he hasn't really changed. I don't think
you can't make Ole Miss wait though. That's the thing. Like you can say, cool, LSU, Florida, you guys wait for me until I'm done trying to win a national championship. Ole Miss can't wait. That is his employer. That's where he's at. That's who's paying the bills right now. And they could designate him to custodian on Saturday if they wanted to.
The no competitor would leave is really interesting to me because I feel like if you were there's two ways to look at competition. Like you could look at Ole Miss and say, I want to be the guy who's accomplished something that's never been done before. My family really loves it here and it's very comfortable for me and I'm making lots of money.
Absolutely.
Or I can look at being a competitor and say, I want to win a national championship. I'm that kind of competitor. And I'm probably not going to be able to do that at Ole Miss. Maybe, but unlikely. And I think Florida and LSU and Penn State, we know for sure that he can't. The other angle on all of this is if he goes to bed at night dreaming of the Lombardi Trophy, you can't do that at LSU or Penn State or Florida or Ole Miss or Auburn. So I don't know. I think.
But the other thing is, brother, like you can have the competitiveness about you. You can say all that shit. Like I don't disagree. Sorry for the curse word. But at the same time, you cannot try to set yourself up for the future while trying to be the Ole Miss coach. And who knows how long this thing goes. Like dude, he could be coaching. If that was the case, okay, I'll leave it at this. If that was the case and Ole Miss and he stuck around somehow and all that shit, which I don't think is possible. I cussed again and I'm sorry. There's no way with the portal opening on January 2nd that you can stay as the coach. I think it really comes down to that. It's point blank, period, done. That's it. And Ole Miss fans, I agree with you kind of. If they dude, here it is. You ready? If they find out that he is leaving for another job, but he's supposedly going to just stay on and coach through the playoffs, his ass won't make it through the first half of the home playoff game. He will be booed so loud. Like that first season of Ted Lasso was bad. Like you wait for what happens.
It's all like wanker.
You wait. Oh, I thought it was a term of endearment.
I just think that
be a goldfish.
Andrew talking about like sort of it defines who you are as a leader. You're letting down the players in the locker room. Again, it may not be his choice. Ole Miss might say to him, you can't do this. I think we want to ascribe these larger sort of moral personality traits onto people who are put into, by their own success, very difficult situations that we all, if you think about our own situations, like I have worked at companies where a guy who hired me preached about team and locker room and unity and everything else, and then got an opportunity less than a year later and had to leave and go take the job because it was best for his family. And so I just like, this is America. Do we live in America where we have capitalist society where we pick and choose what's best for ourselves and that's what we get to do, or do we not? I don't think it's just because it's a tough situation or a difficult decision or an unfortunate decision, I don't think that makes you some bad person. Like I don't think that is, especially when the NCAA is the one who is on the hook for putting all of this shit at the same period of time in the calendar. That is the problem.
It doesn't make him a bad person, but what it does is, man, when you add up everything that's happened, and then you add in the Auburn stuff from three and a
I
half years
I know.
ago,
It's lame.
like
It's fine.
it's just, I'm sorry, man, like it follows you, and I do. Like, I'm not going to go on this thing, but yeah, Lane is a different person. I wrote it in an article. There's a difference between Lane Kiffin, the person, and football Lane Kiffin. Right now, what you're seeing is football Lane Kiffin. And I think this is going to be more of a family decision that folks out there are actually paying attention to right now. And just take that for what it's worth. I think that they're going to be the one that drives this decision.
So Andrew's on this, and I'm not trying to disrespect your opinion here, Andrew. No, it definitely does make him a bad leader and indicative of why he'll never get over the hump. Nick Saban did the exact same thing to the Miami Dolphins and then took Alabama. Is Nick Saban a bad lead? Like, no, this is a tough situation. And in life, you have
he also left LSU.
Difficult decisions. There are difficult decisions that are unfortunate situations. But players leaving a player, this is the whole thing with like sitting out bowl games. Everyone's like, oh, do you not care about the locker room? And I'm not picking on you here, Andrew, but like, oh, Leonard Fournette didn't play in the bowl game. Christian McCaffrey didn't play in the bowl game. Oh, so-and-so is going to sit out the bowl game. Cedric Tillman's not going to play in the bowl game. What is it? He's letting his players down in the locker room. You know who the first people are to support a player sitting on a bowl game? The fucking players. His teammates.
And the coach.
His teammates are like, go, dude, make your money, stay safe, don't tear your ACL, and go do it in the NFL.
Because you
players
also
are the
don't want
ones
to
who support him.
You also don't want to have to take out a $4 million Lloyd's of London insurance plan to be able to play in the freaking Gasparilla Bowl.
And Andrew, you're absolutely correct. I'm not talking about a playoff. If an Ole Miss player sits out a playoff game for the NFL draft, that's a major problem. I will judge you for that because that's different. Bo Prabula did this last year for Penn State.
Yeah.
Bo Prabula had a really difficult, unfortunate decision to make, which is I'm going to be a backup quarterback and maybe get 3 snaps for Penn State on what could be a run to a national championship, or I can go try to earn my starting spot at Missouri, which turned out to be an extremely heated quarterback competition at Mizzou. And that's a really awful thing to have to make a young player do. But we got to make these decisions in life.
We've seen this happen before. We've seen this happen. There was a Michigan player that did not participate in the Rose Bowl in the national championship. Now, he didn't play much, but he didn't participate and entered the transfer portal, right before they were participating for a national championship. Like, this stuff happens, man, and you can't blame the players. I'm not talking about a playoff game, but here's a little hint for everybody out there, and we'll let this one die. Nobody gives a shit about the Citrus Bowl, the Gator Bowl, the Music City Bowl, the Gasparilla Bowl. No, it doesn't matter anymore. This is just an injury.
Well, and again, the reason you have to do this decision at this time, which, Andrew, you're stuck on, and I hear you, man. This is about no one's ever done this in a playoff run. That is not anyone's fault but the NCAA. That is my point.
Right.
This has never happened. I agree this has never happened before, but it's not Lane's fault. It's not Ole Miss's fault. It's not Florida's fault. It's not the players' fault, and it's not LSU's fault or Auburn's fault. It is the NCAA and the TV partners coming together and scheduling all of this stuff at the same time. And until they fix that, we're going to have this kind of problem. And I don't hear anybody complaining about Tulane having to go through this right now, which they're going through the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's equally as unfair for them.
The same thing. And by the way,
it's unfair. It sucks.
There have been players, by the way, this season. One of them signed with TCU 2 weeks ago, who was playing for Oklahoma State, okay, but taking visits to these other schools during the week and then going back and playing for Oklahoma State on the weekends, but then he decided to dip out. So, you know what the point I'm trying to make here.
Also, if you go back and read, I think it's Dave Revson's book about I think it's called Until Saturday. It's like an original it's like an original history of sort of college football. There were players transferring on the same weekend to another school to play on a different team on the same weekend and then transferring back on Monday. Like, we had players like going on a Friday to another school and then coming back on a Monday to their original school to play for a different school back in like the 1800s. The rules, the circumstances do matter. You got to wear whatever decision you make. That's not what we're not making excuses for Lane here. He's got to decide what he's got to decide. But like, no coach has ever left a playoff team in college football because we've never had this situation before. And that's not anybody's fault. It just is what it is. It sucks. We got to deal with it. The bottom line is, I want to know what you think will happen.
I
think he wants the Florida job. I think his family maybe wants the Florida job a little bit more than LSU. I think LSU has quickly not become the #1 job despite the offer. That's why the money was so big in the reported offer. And
that's why they put out the offer, by the way. They wanted to make the headlines. And
I think this is between Ole Miss and Florida.
Journalism 101.
And there's a sneaky third option, which is I'm going to wash my hands of all of this nonsense, and I'm going to go coach in the NFL, where I wanted to coach in the very first place when I took my very first head coaching job, where my dad coached and taught me everything, which is at the NFL.
The Titans.
You think it's the Titans over everybody else?
Yes.
Because it's not going to be Arizona. It's not going to be Jackson. It's not going to be
Cam Ward Whisperer.
It won't be Atlanta. I don't know if they're making a move. It's not the Giants.
And by the way, I
don't think Cleveland makes a move on
this. Ain't just bullshit. There's some folks inside the Titans organization that have brought up Lane Kiffin's name.
Oh yeah,
multiple times in the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
There's an article out there by a journalist that asked a bunch of media members where they thought Lane Kiffin was going to go next year, and there's a reason why I put he stays at Ole Miss through the playoffs, then he ends up with the Titans.
And you are not.
I'm not predicting.
You're not messing with me. You
I'm not reporting it. So don't go crazy on social media. But the question was
Trey
outlined,
Wallace reports.
Right. The question was outlined like what would be some weird scenario where Kiffin is not the coach. And if you want to go look at it, it's on the
more this goes on, and the more I learn, kind of not on background off the record, whatever. The more you learn from talking to people in kind of every camp, whether it's Gainesville, Baton Rouge, Nashville, the NFL,
or what I share with
Ole Miss. When you learn stuff, the more you hear, because I didn't get to know Lane, but I've covered a lot of his players, and I've talked to a lot of his players recently about him and how much he's changed and how much his priorities have changed. You've talked about it. We've all talked about it. And I know we need to move on to Thanksgiving weekend football here. But the more we talk about this, the more it makes more and more sense to tell Ole Miss, I'm just staying, man. I'm going to coach it on the way out and coach as far as you can go. And then as soon as a $10 million 5-year contract from the NFL comes up, you can just leave. And then you're not leaving for a rival. It makes perfect PR sense. You've covered your ass on the back end from a messaging strategy. You coached through the playoff. You didn't give up on the players. Ole Miss didn't force you to sit out. Nobody can be upset with you.
And Texas is not open yet.
Well, and let's be honest, Lane Kiffin cares a lot more about what people think than most other coaches do.
There you go. And the Texas job isn't open yet.
For sure. He cares more about what people think, fans, media, press.
What if Lincoln leaves LSU? I mean, USC for like LSU or something like that, and then they can play that P. Diddy song, "I'm Coming Home," and Lane puts back the USC colors again.
Yeah.
That's not happening. Chill the hell out. I'm just saying, I've talked to so many sources about this. Lane Kiffin is telling folks within the Ole Miss facility he doesn't know what to do. He's polling certain coaches. He's polling certain coaches, assistant coaches, not all of them, certain ones, about what do they think about this scenario. He is talking to friends and family about this. And at the same time, I think we are sitting here on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving recording this, and my man don't know what he wants to do because I was told this. I know we're moving on. I was told Saturday that he was pretty swayed into back to coming to Ole Miss. I was told then on Sunday, well, you know what? He got on social media and read some shit, and he's kind of feeling the Florida and LSU situation.
Lane, stop doom scrolling, my guy. Stop. Make your own decision with your own family, which I think is actually what he's going to do. So,
he's absolutely going to do it with his family.
It's just going to be his family. That's right.
I'm telling you guys.
Which is probably like Ole Miss, Florida tie, and then like Nashville #3.
Right, because his wife didn't need to take a freaking tour to Gainesville.
Right, exactly.
If you folks haven't figured that out yet, you're living on Mars.
Everybody knows.
Gainesville.
All right. Be easy. Take it easy.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. There's just some people out there
Lane is beloved in his locker room, so I don't know what this whole
also Florida
men are going to put up with him.
Florida and Lane Kiffin reps met last Thursday in beautiful Louisiana to discuss the second part of the deal. Like, there's a reason why I was putting out Hammond, Louisiana. I just didn't put finger on the map and say Hammond. That's where they all met last week.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. This is why you listen to the show.
And John Summerall's met with Auburn and Ole Miss too. And Florida.
This is why you listen to the show. That's why you listen to the show.
You're
All right,
finding out information.
Outkick for all Trey's work. If you want to cover, if you want to get more of his work at Outkick, make sure you check it out, outkick.com. And ML Rose, of course, 7 great locations all across Middle Tennessee. Let's get into the Ole Miss playoff ranking thing. So they get dropped by Oregon. I do think Oregon's the better team. Oregon's resume isn't necessarily better. Here's the thing. I don't watch the show on purpose because I don't care how he answers questions, because all it does is frustrate fans, media, experts on what their priorities are, and everything's opaque. And I think it was somebody else in the comments, it might have actually been Andrew, complaining about the Notre Dame thing. And I understand on the surface why that's a thing that people might think based on the way that people talk, because there's no good way to explain this stuff if you're the guy, if you're whoever's in charge. So
especially Andrew, if you've only been on the job for 2 weeks. You're welcome.
Right. Andrew says the Notre Dame ranking is awful and makes zero sense. They need to have more defined metrics. The opacity is intentional and breeds corruption. First of all, there is no corruption in the playoff committee rooms. There might be ineptitude. You may not agree with their point, but there's no corruption. There's no brand bias. They're just trying to do their best job. The explanations, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, because every team has different metrics. Every team has different strengths and weaknesses, and you have to take the entire picture into account to look at it. I think that Notre Dame is clearly better than Miami. I think over the course of their body of work, I think Notre Dame is better. I think Oregon.
I don't disagree.
I think Oregon is better than Ole Miss. So I don't have a problem with them flopping them. I don't really care, because there's still 2 more rankings to go. And really, the truth of the matter is I think Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Georgia 4, Texas Tech 5, Oregon 6, and Ole Miss 7. Those are 1-loss teams. I think all of them can lose again, and they're still in.
Yeah, but okay, I'm going to throw something at you, though, because of these data points that Hunter and Rich Clark and the rest of the committee are talking about. I'm going to read you a quote from last week, okay? This has to do with Oregon going to Penn State and winning, okay? I think you know where I'm going here. Talking about Oregon and why they were ranked ahead of Oklahoma. They won at Penn State. I know Penn State is not the same Penn State we expect them to be this year. Still, it's a very challenging place to play, as evidenced by Indiana having to have a last-second touchdown when they're a couple weeks ago. Guys, we are literally out here with the freaking committee talking about tough places to play, in the fact that a team might have turned into dog shit through the year. Like, I can say that for half the teams in the country, that it's a tough place to play. But what I'm getting at is, these data points that they keep coming up with just don't make sense. So you're telling me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but Ole Miss going on the road and beating number 8 Oklahoma somehow is neutralized because Oregon defeats USC at home? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Oregon going to Penn State and winning, the Penn State turning into garbage. Like,
Stop listening to what they're saying. It doesn't matter what they say.
Right, but you have to at times, because they keep throwing out what they're looking at. Like, Rich Clark had the audacity, God bless him. He said, man, this committee watches a lot of video. They go through lots of videos and 12 out. Well, no shit, because they can't watch every game at the same time.
No, they have every game condensed into an iPad where they can watch every game in less than 35 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever it is. And they have every statistical metric from high level. And I know the guys running the company that contributes the metrics to these guys. This whole idea, they are just doing the best job they can. I'm not making excuses for them.
These old guys are popping Adderall like crazy.
I'm not saying they're getting it right every single time. I'm saying it's a really hard job. And basically, at the end of the day, you got to look at 2 teams and go, I think that one's better.
Yeah.
And right now, I think Notre Dame is better than Miami. Right now, I think Alabama is better than Utah and Vandy. Right now, I think Vandy's ahead of Texas. They lost. So don't tell me this is an anti-Vandy thing. They're putting Vandy ahead of Texas.
Whatever. Texas is a 3-loss team. There's no reason Vanderbilt should be freaking behind Utah. What is
Vanderbilt Vanderbilt didn't play at Ohio State. Stop. If they played at Ohio State, they'd have another loss. What are we talking about? It's okay for a 3-loss team to be better than a 2-loss team, or a 1-loss team to be worse than a 2-loss team. It's okay.
I don't disagree completely, but we didn't know Virginia Tech was going to be dog shit before the season started, and they went on the road and beat Virginia Tech.
What I'm saying is, at the end of the season, you are your entire body of work. Yeah, we're not to the end of the season yet, so everybody needs to calm down, me included, apparently.
Yeah,
and they do the best job they can at looking at the entire picture of the entire body of work of every team. And certain team, again, Florida State in 2013 did not have a good resume. They did not have a good schedule. They did not beat a bunch of good teams, but they won on average by 42 points a game.
Yep.
That they ended up being the best team that year because they were totally dominant against a quote unquote lesser schedule. Just because your schedule is lesser doesn't mean you're a lesser team.
Right. And by the way, margin of victory only goes up to 24 points, we were told by the CFP committee last night. So
that's stupid.
Sorry, Notre Dame, you scored 53 more points necessary than needed against Syracuse this past weekend. I don't, to put a bow on that little topic you're talking about, I don't disagree. I think Notre Dame would beat Miami on a neutral field right now at this moment by 10 points. And I just feel like
that's just my opinion too.
Right. And I think that also, I told you this, we said this last week, the best thing that could have happened for Vanderbilt was them beating Kentucky and then Tennessee beating Florida, because now it gives you an opportunity for a top 20 win on the road.
Miami could lose this weekend.
Yes, they could lose to Pitt.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then it throws this thing into further chaos. Like, I know we're about to get into it, but there are 4 teams that could legit lose this weekend. And if Vanderbilt won, they would slide in.
So here's the thing. I think from Oklahoma down, they all have to win to stay in. Oklahoma's got to beat Oklahoma has to beat LSU. They're a 10-point favorite at home. You should. But if you lose at home to LSU, you're probably not going to get in. And I don't have a problem with that. Even if your schedule is so hard, I mean, it is what it is. Notre Dame, they're at Stanford. Stanford's sneaky. They're not going to lose that game based on how they've been playing. Bama could absolutely lose.
Yes.
To Auburn on the road. BYU, I believe, plays West Virginia, I think.
They do. They're not losing.
No, they play Arizona.
No, they play Arizona. The other one plays Texas Tech goes with West Virginia.
So who does Arizona plays Arizona State. Who's
BYU plays UCF.
UCF. So BYU probably not losing. Miami's at Pittsburgh, which they could lose. So there's still plenty of things that could happen here. Utah's at Kansas, and they're only like a 5.5-point favorite at this point. Vandy is at obviously at Tennessee. Michigan and Texas both have huge games as well, with Ohio State and A&M on their resume. So my point is that Texas, I don't think Texas looks like a playoff team based on their entire body of work. But I do think, we talked about this last week, but you do have to say, if anyone else in this competition we're talking about here had to start the season on the road against Ohio State, they would also have a loss. And so if the only reason Texas is out is because of 3 losses, I think you're ignoring, not you, I think it would be ignoring the context of the entire season. The reason I think that's okay that they're 16th is based on body of work and eye test and metrics and close games and the offense being bad. And the resume, somebody said all you can grade on is the resume. Yeah, the resume is everything. The resume is talent. The resume is coaching. The resume is game control. The resume is margin of victory. The resume is dominance. The resume is what do you look like? That your resume is all of the things. It's not just one thing. It's all of the things. And these are 13 people with opinions. Like, you have an opinion and I have an opinion. Everybody in the comment section, we all got opinions. And my opinion is Notre Dame's better than Miami right now. That's it. And so I would rank them ahead. But I'm basing that off of all the information I can acquire.
But I also think that we have the potential for a lot of chaos this weekend. I think Oregon could go to Washington and lose.
That's a great rivalry game.
Yeah, great rivalry game. And that's going to cause further. Michigan could beat Ohio State. That could slide Michigan in and Oregon out. Like, let's just be honest.
Well, Oregon would go, if they win, Oregon goes to the Big Ten championship game. So, if Michigan wins.
Right, but there's an opportunity. I know that, but I was talking about if Washington beats Oregon, though.
If Oregon and Ohio State both lose, Michigan goes to the Big Ten championship game and would have a right to win their way in.
And I know we're going to talk about this next week, obviously, because Alabama would have to make the SEC title game. But there is, I shouldn't even have brought it up. But if Alabama were to lose in Atlanta, what does the committee do with it?
I don't, and I will say this now ahead of time so that no one can complain about this.
Okay.
If you lose even by 2 touchdowns in a conference championship game, it should not be counted on your on your resume.
I agree. This should be an exhibition. Should not be valued
because you were so good this year.
Besides ACC,
the reason you lost in the championship game is because you were so good this year. You were one of the best 2 teams in your conference.
Yeah,
that's why you should get penalized. Like, that makes no sense to me. SMU didn't really get penalized last year, and I'm okay with it. I think if BYU is 11-1 and they lose a close game to Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, but they're ranked number 9 or whatever, I don't know if they should be dropped.
I totally disagree with you on that. Totally.
Okay, go ahead.
If BYU goes to the Big 12 championship game and gets beat by Texas Tech and they catch that second L, there is nothing on their strength of schedule that should show me that they are good enough to be.
Okay, so it's based on the body of work. You just don't think but that means you don't think they're good enough right now.
No, body of work, and that would mean they would be losing to Texas Tech twice in the same season.
So not being as good as Texas
this season.
not being as good as Texas Tech is not a
I
reason to
know
be
that.
not
I
one
know
of the top
that.
12.
I'm giving you a caveat. What's their biggest win this season?
Well,
Cincinnati?
I mean, probably, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, look, this is the complaint we have about
Holy
Vanderbilt.
shit.
This is the complaint we have about Vanderbilt. Like, same thing. I think the schedules are difficult. I think Vanderbilt's schedule is a little more difficult. Do I think BYU is better than Vanderbilt?
Was going to go to garbage. We didn't know Missouri was going to lose Bo Pribula in that game. We didn't know, they did put up a fight against Alabama and Texas. Like,
what I'm saying is I want it to. You need to treat the conference championship games relatively evenly, and if you lose a game that's not like remember, was it Wisconsin Ohio State was like 59-0?
yes.
Wisconsin, Ohio State in 2014 beat Wisconsin
Yes.
like 59-0.
Yes.
As long as it's not 59-0, I don't think that you can be penalized for losing in your conference championship game. Alabama, Indiana, Texas A&M, BYU or Texas Tech, I don't think you should be penalized for that. That doesn't make any sense. If you were good enough to get in based on the 12-game regular season, and the committee thinks you deserve to be in, I don't know why it would change because you had to play an extra game in which you were so good you got to the championship game. It doesn't make any sense.
We got to get to picks, but I'll leave you with two conferences.
Nah, picks don't matter.
Okay, whatever. There's 3 conferences that this is going to affect potentially. One's a Big 12 because the BYU loses. The second, ACC, because good God, that's a crazy situation in the ACC where that loser is not making the college football playoff, period, and the winner.
No, I agree with that. That's
might not make the college football playoff.
If you are in the playoff rankings, before the conference championship game, why would you be knocked out because you had to play an extra game? I don't understand that.
Right, and there is a weird case scenario where Georgia makes the SEC title game and Ole Miss makes the SEC title game, so it gets even a little bit crazier. I'm just saying, if Texas beats Texas A&M Friday night, all hell's going to break loose. Like, just being straight.
Vanderbilt is 4-2 against the Sagarin top 30. BYU is 1-1. That is one of the better arguments right there. But again, that's just half a schedule. Or if you lose a game here, or you lose a game, I don't think BYU's great. I don't know if they're one of the 12 best teams, but I'm okay with them being ranked ahead of Vanderbilt right now. Like, I think they're a better team than Vanderbilt.
I can go for days on this.
Do you think Vanderbilt is better than BYU?
I don't
have a problem with that.
I don't think their body of work tells me they're better than Vanderbilt.
Okay. I mean, 1-1 against the top 30 in Sagarin is not great. Now,
the biggest win is against Cincinnati, bro.
I hear you. I don't think Cincinnati's Is Cincinnati a top 30 team? I don't think they are.
Not anymore.
No, they have to have another better win than that.
Was it Utah? But Utah's overranked.
Oh, if their best win is Utah, then that's obviously way better than Cincinnati. So
yeah.
Saying that Vandy would smack BYU is just fan talk, which it's fine with that. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do win.
Oh, I'm not saying that would happen. I'm
not. Somebody in the comments
head to head right now. So,
right, like Miami, I think deserves to be ranked ahead of Vandy, but I don't think Miami's all that special. Like, I think they're
BYU's biggest win. I'm looking at it right now. And I know we're gonna push it. Yes, they beat number 23 Utah at home, 24-21.
Utah's number 13.
I know. I'm talking about it at the time. I know that.
I would say there are 10 teams I think there are 10 teams that are clearly deserving to get into the playoff. After that, it's a total mess. That's my opinion.
We have chaos this weekend, if I'm being honest.
I think from BYU at 11 down to, honestly, probably USC at 17. I think all of them are the same.
I love this article that just came out. I'm not going to pub who it was because we don't do that on this show. But
we can.
Dylan Raiola potentially leaving Nebraska.
Oh, dude, the transfer quarterback window is going to be.
Yeah, no, I had heard that 2 weeks ago when he messed around with his ankle that he was looking around. They wanted to point
Sam Levitt.
They wanted to point the fact that his brother decommitted from the Huskers last week. But I'm just telling folks out there that Dylan Raiola has been offered a shit ton of money to go play somewhere else next year, and you're going to see a lot of quarterback movement.
Sam Levitt, Arizona State, Lenora Sellers, potentially at South Carolina if he doesn't go pro, Raiola at Nebraska. I agree. There's a lot of big names that are going to be on the move.
And again,
it doesn't make you a bad person that you want to take a big check to go somewhere else. It doesn't.
It
makes you a capitalist American. It is what it is. The system was built this way. Get mad at the people who built the system. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's going to be going after a transfer quarterback.
Sure. Every quarterback they've had under Josh Heupel has been a transfer. What are we talking about?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's what I love. Georgia Tech, 14-point underdog at home. Mississippi State, 7-point underdog at home. Texas, 2.5-point underdog at home. Vegas telling you Texas is going to play very well in that game. Arkansas, 2.5-point favorite at home. Auburn, 6.5-point favorite at home. That's a lot of rivalry games where the favorite is where the underdog is the home team with a lot of pride on the line. Who's getting upset?
God bless. You just do like 8 games at me in one. Can't we
Egg
just go
Bowl,
one by one?
Egg Bowl, clean old fashioned hate. Texas A&M, Iron Bowl, and then you can Missouri, Arkansas doesn't really matter, but it is the closest campus to Columbia, Missouri, though.
Egg Bowl, Ole Miss wins. They cover. And I'm going to go with – give me the other one again. I'm trying to look at lines.
Georgia Tech is clean old-fashioned hate is 14-point
Georgia
spread.
wins that games because they were stupid enough to move it from Bobby Dodd Stadium into Mercedes-Benz Dome, so not going to have a factor. Home game.
And I think Georgia Tech is – sadly, my Jackets are reeling right now, so –
yeah, I think that, but
I think Georgia wins the national championship. I just want to put it out there.
I told you on this show
Georgia wins the whole.
That there's a good chance that could happen.
I think Georgia's this year's Ohio State.
Okay. I think Texas, man, God bless. I so want to pick Texas to win this game. I think Texas A&M wins. I think it's going to be a tight one. I think they put a lot of pressure on Arch Manning. I'm going with Texas A&M.
I think Texas could win that game.
I do too. Like part of me, to be
really going to mess up our conversation next week.
I really think Texas can win that game.
Vegas is telling you that. Like they're saying Texas is going to play really well. Yeah, this is fair. Fair.
I know what I'm going to do on Friday. Can we
QC? Can we trust Braden? He did pick Clemson to win it. That's true. Tough but fair. Very fair. I don't care about star rating, Eddie. He says you feel too much. You care about star rating too much. I don't even know what the blue chip ratio is at Miami. I don't trust Mario Cristobal at all. I think Clark Lee's a way better coach. I think blue chip ratios are a factor if they've been developed in the right place. But don't tell me talent doesn't matter.
To point out, I did pick Clemson and Bama to play in the national title game. So
you got 50%.
Shit happens.
I had Texas and Clemson, so.
I'm going to go ahead and just say it because I know what I'm going to be picking on Friday, and I was kind of dancing around it right there. Texas is going to beat A&M Friday night.
There you go. So that doesn't really affect A&M at all. It really
you got to give me a little bit more, man. It's 9:40 in the morning. I've been working till 2 o'clock. Give me the other games.
All right. Well, Iron Bowl.
Oh,
I don't think Auburn is good enough. I
not if
think they are.
Who do you think they start at quarterback? If they don't start Deuce Knight, they're smoking weird grass down in Auburn.
Well, that's LSU. The spice is at LSU. So
yeah, that's a good point. And for the folks out there that aren't young enough to understand, we're talking about spice is different than marijuana. I'm gonna go.
It's much more dangerous.
Trust me, I know, man. No, I'm gonna go. Alabama beats Auburn, close one. I just don't.
That's definitely gonna be close, but
I know that. But
all right.
I've seen a lot of crazy Iron Bowl games in person covering them. Like the one I remember is Greg McElroy driving Bama down the field with under 2 minutes to go. All right. Whatever.
So let's get to Vandy and Tennessee here.
Here we go.
Because I think Ole Miss can lose the game and still make the playoff. I think Alabama, if they lose the Iron Bowl, they do miss the playoff. If
Ole Miss is not. If Ole Miss loses that game to Mississippi State, bro, that gives them all the ammunition needed. Lane Kiffin better come out with a celebratory press conference Friday night when he gets back to Oxford saying, I'm the coach.
I think so. Kentucky, Louisville, 3-point spread. Clemson, South Carolina, 2.5-point spread. Super easy. Vandy and Tennessee is by far the most interesting of this group. Not because, and I know it's because maybe I'm in the state and I'm around Vandy people. I got Vandy people in my family. I got Tennessee people in my family.
That's why I'm driving back to Knoxville Friday afternoon.
It is the most important version of this game that we have ever seen in the state of Tennessee. And here's how I'm gonna be really vague about this just because this is the best I can do.
That's how you do it. Anyway.
I think that Vanderbilt is the better football team. I said it in August that I thought they'd be the better football team than Tennessee. As the season has gone along, I think that's been proven out. I also think Tennessee is a pretty good football team. and they're at home. The betting public has bet the line down. It started at about 4. I think now it's down to 3. So the betting public is sort of on Vandy. Doesn't mean anything, but there's just a point of fact. I think Vandy's the better team. I think the atmosphere, I think what it means to both teams is incredibly important. I am curious about Tennessee's how much effort and focus they put into last week based on all the noise around the Florida 2003 thing. And if that's a factor from a letdown standpoint, the line continues to come down, according to Nate in the comment section. I think Vandy's the better team, and I somehow think Tennessee's going to win. Okay. I think Vandy is the better football team.
Look, I'm just going to give a warning to Tennessee fans. The football gods gave you a win at Florida last week and broke that long streak because they knew what was coming this week.
I think Vandy's the best. I think it's a really heavy lift.
You got the Florida win because you're losing to Vanderbilt on Saturday.
I think Vandy's better. I think they're the better team.
I'm saying Vanderbilt's going to win.
What? Okay, talk me through that.
There's still problems with Tennessee's secondary, and they didn't have enough time. Florida did to throw the ball, and I think Diego Pavia has enough weapons on the outside. I think Eli is just such a damn good tight end. He could make life miserable across the middle for them. I think the best thing for Tennessee is that their defensive line looks a lot healthier now than it has been at the entire point of the season, and they can put pressure on Diego.
The offense has been so good in the first quarter. I know Vandy's given up some stuff in the first quarter.
But Florida did something very smart last week. And I give credit for one thing that Florida did last week. They played so much zone and nickel last week. They took away Tennessee's ability to throw the ball down the field.
But Tennessee just ran the football the entire first quarter to a 21-0 lead.
Yeah, but if you go and look at some of the plays that set that up, there were dinks and dunks to the tight end in the flat, 5-yard slants across the middle that turned into 15-yard slants because Florida doesn't know how to tackle. Like, I think Vanderbilt's going to have to dive in like the one aspect of this. Are we going to shut down the downfield? Are we going to try to shut down Tennessee's running game, which has been really good? But there is just something about this Vanderbilt squad on the offensive side and even defensive side that I've seen them show up at times. I understand what Tennessee did to Florida last week, but at the same time, don't trust that Florida team very much. Here's another thing. I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this or not, but I trust Clark Lee and Jerry Kill in very tight situations with calls more so than I trust Josh Heupel right now.
Okay, I don't necessarily disagree with you on the Clark Lee side of that. Why do you? I think Pavia is a part of that. Why do you not trust Josh Heupel?
I think Josh Heupel has gotten very, very conservative at times when it comes to his play calling. I don't know when he's able to just open this thing up and I think that served him down the field. I think it served him well. I know where you're going.
I think it served him well in a lot of games. Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida last year. I think playing smart power football has helped him in the past.
Absolutely. They were lining 3 guys in the backfield against Florida. Like, I understand what he's doing. This is not a shot at Josh Heupel. I'm just looking at the body of work this season. Vanderbilt is entering this game with more on the line, obviously. But it also just feels like this game where Diego's going to get off the bus and it's going to be hanging 4 feet from the ground, and he is going to go in
4 feet from.
He's going to get.
What's going to be hanging 4 feet from the ground? I think you got all your metaphors mixed up.
His luggage is going to be
4 inches off the ground.
Right.
I think is what you meant.
Well, 4 feet would be never mind.
Yeah, it's like taller than him.
Yeah. Or maybe it wraps around the other way.
Okay. All right.
No, I just look, man. Like, honestly, I just think this sets up for one of those crazy Diego games. Like, I
think that has to be the first of all. That's the best story. Like, objectively, the best story is Diego Pavia does something insane on the road to get
gets a Heisman invite. By the way,
to finish off the best regular season in Vanderbilt history, to beat your rival on the road, like to maybe put yourself in a spot for the playoff. Diego Pavia doing something special is absolutely the best story that you could tell. So and this is an interesting question from Nate. Who has the most pressure here, Vanderbilt or Tennessee? And I think the reason I think it's going to be a great game, and the reason I don't know is because it's both.
Yes.
It's both. It's equal. Josh Heupel, you better believe there's a lot of pressure to beat Vanderbilt in this game.
Bro, if they try to go into the offseason with a loss to Vanderbilt, and that's not a shot at Vanderbilt. I'm saying just because of how this season's gone and the missed field goal and the loss at Alabama, like it's going to be a long offseason.
The pressure for Vanderbilt is this is your one shot at making the playoff because there's no Diego Pavia next year.
And this is your one shot of Diego having an invite to New York. I know they're not thinking about that, and I get that, but that would be great for the school.
There's a reason. There's a reason they ran up the score the last 2 weeks and put up a bunch of offense. Like there's a reason they scored a ton of points. The
same way as other people are doing it too. Like I don't want to hear any bitching about Diego going back in the game. You know, whatever.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's great for the state of Tennessee.
And I'm really torn on this game, too, Braden. Like, honestly, man, like right now, I am torn on a Wednesday on who I think can win this game.
I think they both can win the game. I think it's dead even, and I think who has the ball last and who makes the one or two big plays in the fourth quarter on third down. And like, is that Pavia or is that Aguilar? I don't know.
I'll leave it with this. I would like to see Vanderbilt win for one reason, because I would love to see how this affects the CFP committee and what they do if certain other things happen in front of them.
Chaos.
Like this puts them, the CFP committee, on the test.
You just want to see that some people just like to watch the world burn, Trey.
Absolutely.
No, I want this. The only reason first of all, I think it is an objectively great story what Vanderbilt has accomplished this year.
Absolutely.
And to finish the job 10-2, even if they don't make the playoff, is still an objectively great old school college football story. It's awesome. But personally, on a selfish level, Trey, I told all of my Tennessee alumni that Vanderbilt was the better football team in August, and I want to be right. So there's that. And because Tennessee losing doesn't do anything to my personal alumni feelings towards the organization, I still think Josh Heupel's the right guy for the job. I still love the University of Tennessee. But a bowl game at 9-3 versus a bowl game at 8-4 doesn't actually mean anything. It doesn't actually change anything.
It's either citrus or it's gator.
Right. It's literally in the same place.
Right.
Basically. So I just think that there's like objectively the better story is Vanderbilt, but there's a lot of Tennessee.
I'm just being honest with Tennessee fans out there. The football gods gave you Florida for you to lose to Vanderbilt.
I don't think they gave you Florida. They went down there and beat the shit out of them.
Gave you. I'm talking about the football gods. Let it happen. Don't misconstrue my words when we're talking about the football gods.
I want to like. Is it the same football gods that handle the NFL, or are they two different gods? Is it like a big brother, little brother god situation?
No, it's a whole different company.
Do they live in the same house?
No.
Do they all rented the same apartment downtown?
This is like Santa Claus and Easter Bunny. It's just two different kind of companies.
The NFL is Santa Claus and college football gods are the Easter Bunny. I think you've been smoking whatever those Auburn folks have been smoking.
No, I wish. I mean, I don't know. I do have to go through Mississippi with my windows down.
I hear you.
That one.
Well, hey, isn't the largest like marijuana plant in the South, like right there in Starkville?
Yes, it's a government owned.
Don't ask me if I know why I know that.
It's small things you have to look up, but it's government owned. Like it's the largest growth.
Are these gods benevolent or malevolent? We'll find out. Apparently.
Yeah, no. I think this is going to be a fun weekend. I think that to wrap it up, like
different gods from Eddie. The CFB gods love me. The NFL gods hate me. Although Eddie, you've been putting up with Vandy football for a long time. That's the bad god. The gods have not been treating you fairly over the year.
No.
Over the years. This year you did a good. You got it.
And Tennessee, like the football gods, also called in the favor of the basketball gods and gave y'all a win over Houston last night. So like they're just.
I can't do basketball yet. I can't do it yet. I gotta wait till January.
You mean this Players Era Festival looks like the Fire Fest?
What is it? Gonzaga versus who? Michigan for $1 million. That's a pretty cool idea. It's a cool idea.
But Tennessee beats the best team technically in their side, but they have to play in the third place game.
That's a bummer. They made me suffer, says Eddie, so I get to enjoy the success. That's absolutely true. And the Mets will do that for me one time. When the Mets win the World Series, I will have said, I was there through all of it for 50 years, so I get to enjoy this the way Cubs fans got to in 60.
I would rather watch a cricket tournament than watch Major League Baseball.
Wow. All right, then. I can't wait. I can't wait for Arsenal and Bayern Munich today.
I'll take soccer. I love soccer.
But have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll be back next week to break down all the rankings and all the rivalries and what exactly Lane Kiffin has done. Otherwise, have a great holiday. Outkick.com, of course, check out all Trey's work there. ML Rose, 7 or 8 great locations, depending on what time you're listening to this. Fantastic brunch specials, great wing specials on Saturday. You're going to need to get out of the house probably by Saturday morning. So why don't you go get 2-for-1 beers, watch some SEC football, and get some extra free wings from ML Rose. It's a great place to go watch some ball on Saturdays. For Trey, I am Braden. Thanks all of you in the comments. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been great today. I do appreciate all of you. Please rate, review, subscribe. Tell somebody about the show. We appreciate it. For Trey, I'm Braden.
Mississippi.
For Trey, I'm Braden. Thanks for listening. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.